Welcome to Beacon of Creation, a weekly podcast on game design through the lens of Magic the Gathering. I'm Tim.
I'm Peter, also known as Mono Whiteboarder.
And greetings, I'm Crafted Lava is True.
Great to have you on. We've been talking about trying to get you on for a while. Longtime member of the Discord, frequent contributor, and now you're here.
Yay! Yeah, now I'm here.
Finally, we can craft some lava on this podcast.
Yes.
Actually, depending on where it goes, maybe that'll happen. We're going to be doing a live design episode. This is where we just design some cards on the pod. It's pretty simple. I've opened up this one a little bit, and we'll see how this format works.
I'm ready. What do you got, Tim?
So we're going to be doing Tarkir themed, but we got a twist this time. We're going to be doing it Alchemy style, arena style.
Oh.
But the requirements that I got here are one of each mythic, rare, and uncommon, and then a mixture of requirements for some of those cards. One of them is Behold, the Behold the Dragon thing from Tarkir. I want a Behold card that does something for the dragon that you behold, the dragon that you reveal. We have to have at least one of the clan mechanics: Endure, Flurry, Renew, Mobilize, Harmonize.
Mm-hmm.
And then at least one digital-only mechanic, one of the classic ones I've got here: Conjure, Boon, Double Team, Perpetually, and Seek. So that's what we're going to be doing. This is a little bit less of like a challenge that I'm going to evaluate you guys on, and more just we're all going to work together to design something. What jumps out as a starting point?
Well, now that you said that, we are probably going to craft some lava on this. I'm trying to resist the urge to make a card with crafts.
Oh,
but
we should have had you for the Ixalan episode.
Maybe that would have been funny. Yeah,
plenty of magma on Tarkir, so we can still work it in there.
Yeah.
What's your favorite clans? What's the one that you guys like the most?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think I'm partial to the Abzan myself.
Ooh, okay.
So old school Tarkir was like my favorite. I like Anafenza, I like Abzan, but funny enough, I played like a weird teamer control deck back then, like little homebrew teamer control that was perfect in my little local game shop meta, because everyone liked the blue-black dragon control deck. And so like this teamer control deck I built just crushed it because of Mind Swipe. The like X cost deal, you counter the spell and then you deal X damage to them. So like I would just hold up all my mana and be like, well, eventually you're going to play something and then we'll have a counter battle and my counter spell will deal like 10 damage to you.
I also quite enjoy Siege Rhino.
Yeah.
And also Mardu. In general, I just enjoy the white-black adjacent wedges and shards. So Esper, Mardu, and Abzan are all favorites of mine. But I also started playing Magic a bit later than pretty much everyone in the server, I believe.
I am curious what the like most recent Magic player is in the Beacon server now. So like we can have, when the episode comes out, we can have like a little, I started here.
I started around the pandemic years.
Oh, okay.
Which is a peculiar choice to get into a trading card game when you can't really trade any cards with anyone because no one is around to play.
Yeah, but you got a lot of time to just like read hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of Magic cards you've never seen before.
Yeah, indeed.
I'm digging this Beheld Dragon text. I feel like that's some pretty innovative tech that you're cooking up there, Tim. Mm-hmm. Maybe that's a good warm up too, since we have a pretty clear line of text coming off this one.
We had 6 Behold cards in Dragonstorm. We got the Cycle of Commons, and then Sarkin cares about beholding. The commons do a good job of putting dragons on cards and giving you like a minor bonus for beholding a dragon. But they're like, you can surveil 2 if you behold a dragon. You gain 2 life if you behold a dragon. But we want to do something a little bit more. We want to express like, hey, this dragon is doing this cool thing. And how do we do that?
The Beheld Dragon perpetually gains. I think that makes a lot of sense. In the past, Alchemy cards have done sort of a reveal this card, or 2 cards in your hand perpetually get something. That makes a lot of sense. This dragon's in your hand, and you can start granting it some abilities before you actually cast it.
Yes.
If we want to get really fancy, someplace we could go is doing something that would both affect the dragon and the omen that's on the dragon.
That is a good idea. Yeah.
It could reduce the cost of both the omen and the dragon or something like that.
If it has an omen, blah, 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 blah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the thing about doing the cost is that you're not limited to beholding a dragon in your hand. You can also behold a dragon on the battlefield.
Yeah, we might not want to like do something that only matters for casting, like giving it flash, or we might want something that is either good if it's still in hand or if it's already on the. Yeah, that makes sense.
Did we have any dragons with fire breathing in Tarkir Dragonstorm?
Yeah, I think there's like a haste guy. Yeah.
Yeah, so we got Storm Shriek Feral has bad dragon breathing. You have to pay 1 in a red. This creature gets +1/+0 until end of turn.
So yeah, you could behold a dragon and then it gains fire breathing. Yeah, that would work. Something like that.
Since it's digital, right? We could treat fire breathing as though it were a keyword, can't we?
Yeah, you could define a keyword. Yeah. I think if you're trying to use it on a couple cards, for sure. If you're using it for one card,
yeah,
but maybe.
My thought is there's something that, like, fire breathing is a very iconic mechanic. So is there some way we can take that iconic mechanic and twist it in a way that we wouldn't normally be able to do in paper, but since we're in a digital only client, we can, twist it or shake it up or make it unique in a way that's different from the normal paper version of fire breathing.
So what's like the normal problem with fire breathing? Probably that it doesn't matter that much. You've already got a large creature. It might let you end a game a little bit faster, but it's not going to let the dragon trade up, for example.
Yeah, it's usually only good when you're ahead already.
So this goes a bit into how Mobilize as a mechanic was designed. The quote-unquote drawback of a lot of the Mobilize cards is that they have quite a low power. And what about something that just, whenever it does the fire breathing, it perpetually gains Mobilize as a bonus?
Mobilize is a useful thing, yeah. Rallying breath or something, rallying roar.
Something like that. Yeah.
So we've got like some basic thing the card does, and also you can behold a dragon. And if you behold a dragon, it gains Mobilize too. Perpetually. It seems pretty good.
And Mobilize is kind of a cool ability to copy paste onto different creatures because you're going to have different creatures that are better or worse at attacking. I think the key is figuring out, what do I want to do before I play my big Mobilize creature?
I guess this could be a creature, kind of like Sarkin.
Ooh.
Hey, when this enters, you can mobilize a dragon. Or you can, that'd be a whole different thing. When this enters, you can behold a dragon. And if you behold a dragon successfully, that shows that you are a cool warrior. And therefore, like, you and that dragon both gain mobilize or whatever.
So you get this sweet bonus when you enter of, hey, it's me and my dragon friend. And because it's me and my dragon friend, we got a bunch of people charging in behind us that want to battle with us.
Yeah.
And this is also kind of cool because if you behold a dragon that's already on the battlefield, that dragon gets to mobilize right away.
Yeah.
One of the other things to think about is like, well, what are the Alchemy cards best in? So they do like the Alchemy draft format for like a week or two where you can play with a couple extra bombs in the format. And then you can play them in like historic, where they're, I don't know, the kinds of stuff that we're designing today probably won't be like a historic card, but I guess the main audience then would be Brawl, the one-on-one commander format, 25 life. Aggro can actually work pretty well in that format, so Mobilize is something that could fit there. So like singleton constructed. So I have a mixture of dragons and non-dragons for some reason, and I want to Mobilize.
I'm just trying to think of like colors and costing. Mobilize is the Mardu mechanic. Dragons are in all colors. Red black kind of is standing out to me if we can go full Mardu, but I don't know. There's something about just being red black specifically that registers with me as like very much caring about dragons. And then costing it lower to the ground, maybe like 2 or 3, can encourage both play patterns of like maybe it's late in the game and I can play this and mobilize a dragon I already have, or it's very early in the game and I mobilize a dragon in my hand to build up with later.
Like what extra ability, what sizing? We're also picking a rarity, so what do we want to aim for? An uncommon, a rare, and mythic? What do we?
Well, if we are doing this as something for Brawl, why not have it behold something at the start of each combat instead of just when it enters?
Okay.
Ooh.
Yeah, at the beginning of combat, you may behold a dragon. If you do, that's also kind of nice because then I feel better about playing it early when I don't have my dragon in my hand yet. Because then, like, hey, maybe I missed the first trigger, but I'd rip a dragon later, and now I can start building that one up. I think the other kind of cool thing about beginning a combat is that we could start with like a mobilize 1, but if it happens every combat, the same dragon might get mobilized 1, 2, or 3, or 4 times.
Oh, so you want it to be perpetual still?
Yeah, it's hard to, if we're going to give the dragon an ability, it's hard for it to not be perpetual because
it could be from your hand.
It might be in hand. Yeah.
So one thing I'm thinking about is that if our creature here has like basically just like maybe they always have mobilize and they always have something that cares about tokens. And then they also have this dragon text, and the dragons are kind of your top end of your token strategy. So like and you don't really care if your dragons make tokens because this creature will turn those dragons into token makers on top of being good dragons so that you can kind of go over the top instead of like the classic problem with token decks, right? Is that like, oh, I have all these 1/1 tokens, but I don't really have an end game. I guess normally the end game is like you pump all your tokens. So is it then encouraging the person to go too far away from what they want to instinctively do when they're pumping out tokens is to then start making big dragons? What if we gave the dragons Devour? This is not in Dragonstorm the same as Dragonstorm energy. This is very old school Tarkir energy.
Yeah.
But if you perpetually gave the dragons Devour, and then after you've made all these tokens, you can then eat all the tokens with your giant dragon.
Yeah. I think that. So we're going to behold the dragon and give it Devour.
Mm-hmm.
Are we saying, hey, devour me? I'm the cool dragon speaker.
I guess you could have the flavor be kind of the like radical person who's like
willing
sold
sacrifice.
Their soul to the evil thing, but then they thinking they're going to get power.
Yeah.
What about a goblin that's just really loud and attracting a lot of dragons nearby? And in the art, you can just sort of see a dragon lurking in the background, ready to eat this poor little goblin.
Yeah.
Soon.
I think like some one-shot way to like make it easier for you to get your first dragon onto the battlefield could solve some problems for dragon decks because this problem is not usually the size of the dragons, but like I have 5 drops in my hand.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to live the dragon lifestyle. Here's a goblin that's like, hey, one of them, come eat me or whatever. I guess we do run into the like cost. We needed to work with a dragon on the battlefield as well, which is maybe where Devour cost reduction are a little tough.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. It also gives the dragons you cast later something to do when your commander is gone or something similar.
I think if we behold every combat, then making the dragon cost less is something that maybe makes sense, but then you do miss out. And then like the fact that we can also grant that dragon, or we can grant our creature an ability makes it so that if I behold a dragon on the battlefield, I don't really feel too bad about it. Like, what I care about right now is giving my thing first strike, so I can behold a dragon on the battlefield and I'm not sad. And I guess if that dragon dies and I return to my hand, it costs 1 less. Would it be cool if this creature shuffled dragons back into your library and then you could draw them later and now they cost 1 less because they died, but you beheld them earlier?
Yeah, I could see that working, yeah.
Oh, interesting. So, like, the dragon perpetually gets, like, 1 less to cast, and also, when this creature dies, shuffle it into its owner's library.
Yeah, something like that, or on attacks, it shuffles a dragon into the library, something to that effect. That way, if you behold a dragon on the battlefield, you don't feel like, oh, well, the cost reduction's irrelevant.
What about something with the tokens? When the token dies, you shuffle a dragon from your graveyard into your library. In the flavor of the dragon maybe eating or scavenging the token and getting its strength back and going back into the library.
So that idea is still leaning in toward the mobilize thing.
Yeah, it is.
Shuffling the creature into its library, that's like kind of omany, so that like feels like it's in line with Tarkir. It's also not that powerful an ability, I would say. Shuffling, as they die, they go into the library, which means that we can push other things about it.
Right.
Is it too wordy to say, like, shuffle it in its owner's library, then draw a card? So whenever your dragons die, they go away, but you get a new card. It rewards you having a lot of dragons, because the more dragons that you play and that die, the more, your opponent doesn't want to remove the dragons because you get to draw a card. If they remove the little goblin, well, they just kill the goblin. Who cares? Puts them in a tight spot.
Might be a little wordy to add in the draw card.
Yeah.
Oh, so you're looking at like 6 lines. That's a lot of lines.
6 is probably the most I'm looking for. I'm looking at an example card that feels like the right amount of text to put on this kind of card is, I'll paste it in the doc too, but it's called Fuel Tank Feaster. This is a card that I played a couple times in Alchemy. At the beginning of your first main phase, a random creature with the greatest mana value among creature cards in your hand perpetually gains. This spell costs 1 less to cast. And then the creature also has tap to add a mana of any color. This is a 2 mana creature that also, like in future turns, is also slowly ticking down the cost of your biggest things. This is a green card. We could do like a red twist or a black twist or something like that. But this is about the amount of text that I'm looking for.
Fuel Tank Feaster, it doesn't really use Behold. A lot of those effects you can just sort of get away with not using anything like that.
Hey, this creature makes your dragons cost 1 less just as a static ability. And then when it enters the battlefield, you may behold a dragon. If you do, this creature and that dragon both get mobilized or whatever. Like that gives us a discount. We don't need a recurring discount. We don't need the behold to be relevant to the creature on the battlefield, or like the behold is relevant to a creature on the battlefield, but the discount is only relevant to dragons you cast while this guy's sitting. Something like that, I think, represents a lot of what we've been talking about.
But then, it can just probably be red, and then it's just very close to the Sarkin.
Yeah.
Which is, fine, I guess.
Do you want an evil twist on it? Do you don't want to do Sarkin? We can do any other color. It doesn't have to be red.
How do you... Well, okay, so how does it look to make dragons cheaper in black or green or white or blue?
In black, it's either reanimating or adding some life payment. Or sacrifice.
Okay, hold on. Well, if you reanimate a dragon and then get to behold a dragon, you can reanimate a dragon and then give it an ability. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I guess... How would you word that? Like, return target creature from your graveyard to the battlefield, then you may behold a dragon.
No, I'm thinking the behold happens at the combat step like we were discussing earlier. So when...
Oh, this is a creature still. Okay.
When this creature enters the battlefield... Yeah, good luck editing this to make it coherent now that I've circled back to the original idea. When this creature enters the battlefield, You may return a dragon creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. And then at the beginning of combat on your turn, you may behold a dragon. The beheld dragon gains mobilize 1.
So just until end of turn?
The beheld dragon perpetually gains mobilize 1.
So this is a pretty big boy then, because this is returning a dragon. So we're probably starting at 5 mana.
Thinking like 3 black for a 3/3, maybe a 2/2. Make it really tiny. And then so you can return a dragon, so you can kind of build this reanimator strategy of returning a dragon from the battlefield. That's kind of your dream scenario. Maybe it could just return any creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield.
Yeah, I think the dragon thing's good.
All right.
Restricting it to dragon makes the card weaker, which then lets us make the other thing that is stronger.
I think that's good.
Behold, this forgotten dragon. Pretty much can't play this before I have a dead dragon, but maybe if I'm in black, I'm doing some self-mill or something like that. This is more rewarding than other reanimate cards because I get an extra creature, because a little bit of mobilize is nice.
Yeah.
We have room to probably add a little bit more juice somewhere on the card.
Yeah, we got a decent amount of text on there, but maybe
it's like a, make it mobilize 2. It gets a counter when it enters the battlefield, something like that.
Part of what we were thinking,
a death touch keyword.
Oh, there you go. When we we're saying mobilize 1, that was maybe when this was like a 1 or 2 or 3 mana creature, and we were going to behold 3, 4, 5 times. In this case, with this creature being 5 mana and conditional, we maybe need to juice up the mobilize. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Maybe add in a little death touch, so we have a nice solid blocker, and give the dragon mobilize 2, and you can keep building that, and that builds pretty scary pretty fast.
All right, what are we calling this guy? What's our flavor here? You got Snake Cleric in your note here.
Yeah, but it doesn't feel like Sidisi. I'm going to try and find another snake legend from Tarkir.
Yeah. If this is mobilized, then this is probably still a little bit Mardu-y. It's like reviving an old leader, bringing back an old warrior.
What about Dragon Pass Disciple? Disciple's a word people like.
I like that, yeah. Dragon Past. That's cool sounding.
Is there maybe a different... I added a red here because of the mobilize. Maybe that felt a little red, and then black-red reanimates. Can we think of a keyword that red-black likes to have? Is Death Touch still okay?
We're already pretty high on text,
works, yeah.
So I think either Death Touch or, yeah.
Death Touch is good. I was thinking it could replace it with, Menace or... I don't know, but none of those sound as relevant on a 2/2. So Death Touch is good.
Sure.
All right. Cool.
Read it out for us.
All right. Dragon Pass Disciple is a 3 red-black for a 2/2 Goblin Cleric with Death Touch. Whenever this enters, you may return a dragon creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. And at the beginning of combat on your turn, you may behold a dragon. The beheld dragon perpetually gains mobilize 2.
That's cool.
There we go. And what's that? Uncommon?
It's got 2 lines that feels more rare to me.
Sure.
Doesn't feel mythic.
Yeah, the reanimate is doing a lot of work, and then the perpetual tokens stacking. It's got a high ceiling, and then a very high floor as well. So rare seems fine.
All right, so let's do at least one more card here.
While we were designing this card, in the background I also ended up doodling a bit on a potential next card, being a creature that whenever you flurry, it perpetually doubles its power.
So we're going to flurry a couple times, and once we flurry it a couple times, we've got a 16 power creature or something.
Something like that.
Okay.
But then that might be a bit messy with how temporary buffs work. So I then moved on to what about it has starting intensity, and the flurry doubles the starting intensity of all those cards. So you have a sort of cheap red creature that later in the game might be a bit more of a chunky a sort of beater, even when you top deck it.
Oh, so you're saying it's going to go up and up. There were like a bunch of song cards or something that all shared intensity.
Yeah, the chorus cards, I believe.
Oh, chorus. Okay.
Like Colossal Chorus, 6 green for sorcery, chorus. Starting intensity 2. Conjure X cards named Colossal Dreadmont onto the battlefield where X is this spell's intensity. All chorus cards you own intensify by 1.
Hymn to the Ages, 1 and a blue. Starting intensity 1. Draw a number of cards equal to the spell's intensity. All chorus cards you own intensify by 1. Okay, I didn't totally learn the mechanics of this before, but the idea here is each card in the deck is tracking its own starting intensity.
Yes.
But that number can actually be increased like while it's in a library or while it's in exile or while, it's somewhere else. Each chorus card specifically says all chorus cards you own intensify by 1. There's 5 cards between the 5 colors. You try to find like at least 2 colors and have like 4 of each of those.
Okay, we got to have a chorus card with Harmonize.
How do we do that? So
perhaps
you have a built-in value because we'll have the text all your chorus cards intensify by 1, and Harmonize lets you cast it from the graveyard, so you instantly see your intensity build up from there. So that's already a good starting point for me.
Could you get as simple as like put X +1/+1 counters on a creature where X is your intensity and then just harmonize?
Yeah, that could work.
Because then, like, if you have multiples in your deck, now your 3rd or 4th or 5th cast is adding like 3 or 4 or 5 counters, powering up your other chorus cards. I'm kind of a believer in this. Is there a different, because we want this effect to scale by a lot, because we're going to be able to scale it like quite quickly. Oh, there's technology on some of these where the starting intensity is not 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, it can be 0, it can be 2, 3.
25. It's like a extra knob you can do something with. Are there any of them that increase intensity by more than 1? Oh, there is. There is a equipment that can intensify by X, where X is the something's power.
Oh. Okay, so we're locked in. It's going to be a chorus card that like works like the other chorus cards, has a starting intensity, intensifies all your chorus cards, and then does something and has harmonize. The existing ones create a big creature, draw a card, return little creatures from the graveyard.
Yeah.
Kind of board wipe sort of stuff. And then a kill spell, like a deal damage to a creature thing. So those already exist. We want something that's a little bit different. And hopefully also something that we can scale a fair amount.
Yeah.
It could be little creatures. I guess Teamer's not really about the little creatures, so Harmonize making little creatures might be a little off flavor.
And Harmonize naturally wants you to do big things so that you can reduce that cost down. Your original idea of the pump effect, are we kind of off that idea of just like it gets +X where X is your intensity, or you put counters on it where X is your intensity? We could do is there a white one? There has to be.
Well, white's not Teamer, so.
Oh, right. So green, putting counters on things.
I think counters, this card seems like it's sort of like a travel prep sort of thing on its own.
Yeah.
Travel preparation, like an old Innistrad card. Yeah, if I give 1 counter, then 2 counters, that's what it would do in limited, unless I draft a bunch of them, because maybe it's uncommon.
I'm wondering if we could do a even more generic effect on a colorless sorcery so that we have something that isn't covered by all the choruses already.
What are you thinking?
Well, I didn't really think much further than that.
So you have like a colorless like Ugin spirit or something, and we're making bigger and bigger Ugin spirits.
That could work, yeah.
I guess part of the thing about these chorus cards is, at least the ones that exist so far, there's a 1-drop, a 2-drop, a 3-drop, 4-drop, and an 8-drop. Apparently they've played with these enough where they found out that like even 4-drop chorus cards can work.
Yeah, and the higher the mana cost, usually the higher the starting intensity.
Is there a different effect besides like putting counters on things or making a creature that we could see like scaling multiple times?
Surveil, maybe?
Just absolutely tunnel through a deck. All right.
Yeah.
Maybe that's good in the chorus deck.
We can look at the colorless lessons. You got counters. You got searching your library for a basic land card, exiling non-land permanents, scrying and drawing cards, or making a bunch of tokens. Those were all the colorless lesson cards as kind of a guide for what things colorless do. So you pay 3 mana, starting intensity 1, search your library for a basic land card, put it onto the battlefield, or put it into your hand. Then harmonize, and you get to search for 2 basic land cards, and then
just the giga fixing.
Yeah,
like not ramping. The ramping card already exists. There's already like a 3 mana ramping growth with harmonize.
Yeah, that could.
Do I want that many lands in my hand? I guess that maybe works with the chorus deck, because the chorus deck, if it can, would like to play 3 colors of choruses.
Outside of that, if we're sticking to colorless, I'm kind of leaning towards counters still being the only thing that truly works in colorless. Do we want to put chorus on does chorus make sense on a artifact? Probably not.
No. I think searching up lands could work, yeah.
Just searching them to hand. All right.
Yeah.
Is it a colorless mana? Do we want to have that card? Search up that many lands and gain that much life. So you search up 1 land, gain 1 life. 2 lands, gain 2 life.
I think at that point we might as well make it a green card, no?
I'm just thinking of the Strixhaven. Doesn't the Strixhaven one gain you some life?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just copying the work of someone else.
A lot of Magic design is just seeing something that was done before and then putting a little twist on it, right? Here's a slight, just slightly modifying kicker forever until you die.
Until you kick the bucket?
Right.
Or, sorry, until you kicker the bucket.
I guess it's tough for me to figure out how to make that card cost 2, and if it costs 1, that feels like it's weirdly easy. I don't know that Magic needs a spell that's 1 colorless mana that searches up a land of your choice. But maybe it's okay. Hey, it's Alchemy. Who cares? It does. Maybe the thing that's messing with me is like the 1 mana is the return of chorus, and I feel like it's just kind of like a uninspiring card. Maybe I'm being too critical.
Going into colorless puts quite a big constraint on the things that you can actually do with a colorless sorcery.
Yeah,
which is naturally with chorus, you naturally kind of want to be in sorcery mode. So maybe assigning a color helps us out, gives us a little bit more flexibility.
Yeah.
We could make a bunch of treasure tokens. People love treasure tokens. People love making a lot of treasure tokens. But if you're utilizing Harmonize, do you want it? That one spell from Tarkir that makes a 5/5 and then it has Harmonize 5 and Teamer.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool because I see the exact through line, right? I get to make my 5/5 and then later I can flash back and I already have 5 power ready to go.
Yeah, that's a nice card for sure. Mammoth Bellow.
So maybe a multicolor chorus is a more interesting direction to go. What does a combined color chorus do?
Yeah.
What does the blue-red or green-blue chorus do? Maybe we design a green-blue card for Tim.
Hell yeah.
Known Simic lover.
Yes.
Could we copy a bunch of stuff? Is making clones? Everybody loves the giant blue-green clone card, right?
Okay, it clones at first, and then when you harmonize it clones twice.
Yeah.
We're talking. We're cooking.
Yeah.
I'm liking this. This is a design.
Yeah, so create a token copy of target creature you control.
Yeah. Yeah. You had a card that's immediately very appealing. Because if you copy something that's at least like 3 power or whatever, now you're building up the power that like you need in order to harmonize.
Yeah, X is this spell's intensity. So create X token copies of target creature you control, where X is this spell's intensity, and then you have a harmonize blue green.
Probably at least 6, probably 7.
Okay, 6 or 7, because you're getting 2 on the second cast.
Another thing is that the token copy you create can also help pay for the harmonize.
Right.
So
Yeah. So even though it's like
seems safe.
If it's like 5 green blue, it's really going to cost 2 green blue or whatever. Yeah, so the initial cost is like 4 mana. The harmonized cost is like 7 mana, but the harmonized cost is secretly not 7 mana. It's some number less than 7. It could probably be even higher, honestly. Like if it was 8 mana, I'm still excited to play that card.
What's the average thing you're going to copy? Probably a 4/4 or a 3/3?
Well, if I'm curving out, yeah, I'm playing a 3 mana 3/3 with some ability.
On turn 4, you copy it, you raise your intensity by 1, and now you have a 3/3. And then turn 5, you can use your 3/3, reduce this down 3 mana, and pay 5 mana to cast it. So 6 blue green would kind of make a very sick curve.
Yeah, absolutely.
If I may add something here, perhaps it should conjure a duplicate onto the battlefield so that it works with the set's renew creatures.
Oh, renew.
Yeah.
Okay, I love it. And that gets us in the alchemy space. So conjure X. So what well, let's see. Is it just conjure duplicate?
I think it is, yeah.
Conjure a duplicate of it into your hand.
Duplicate, yeah.
Conjure X duplicates per creature you control onto the battlefield.
And into your graveyard.
That's because blue-green because it's flexing between Temur and Sultai.
Yeah.
Am I putting that?
Well, just adding on into your graveyard too, because why not? And also, maybe someone has fun with that.
We're already kind of pushing the text here, the amount of rules text.
And into your hand, and also into your library, and into your opponent's library,
and into their hand.
Yeah,
and onto their battlefield.
What I'm thinking is
into the sideboard as well, just for good measure.
I think the thing that I'm dreaming of with this card I think I want to stay a little more pure teamer, because what I want to do is have 3 teamer choruses in the set. One for each of the 2 color pairs, like the blue-green, the blue-red, and the red-green. I want to have one of each of those so that there's 3 cards in the set that work together, but also they're compatible with the 5 choruses from ages past.
Yeah,
making 2 copies of a thing is something we pretty rarely do. Like, there are a lot of clones out there. And there are some cards that can make like 5 copies or whatever, but like this is not a heavily trodden path that we're on. So I think this is like a naturally appealing card and makes me want to play other choruses, makes other choruses more fun to play with, feels very teamery. Yeah. Maybe I'll do the read on this one. Are we pretty locked in? Are we feeling good about this card?
I've just thrown out a couple names: Dragonclaw Chorus, Formidable Chorus, Ferocious Chorus, Dragon's Roar Chorus,
Yeah,
Fortifying Chorus. That sounds too Abzani.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
they're the wall people.
Oh, okay.
Hunter's Chorus,
Glacial Chorus.
What types of singing?
Battle Cry.
That's Mardu.
I think something like either hymn or to fit the whisper, songcraft, rhythm, bellow festival. Whisper stories.
Yetis, I guess, don't really copy things.
What is a song sung by multiple people at the same time? That's already a chorus. We actually are already good there.
Chorus, chant.
Something like multiplying chant. That's not a good name, but building chant.
Amplifying. Harmonizing chant. What about that? Is that too on the nose?
Well, we need to leave space open for the 2 other cards that are going to be in this tricycle. They can't. They're all harmonizing chant.
Oh.
I'm just.
Multiplying's not.
Okay, let me go to the thesaurus
Snowballing.
and see synonyms for
snowballing
songs.
harmony. Yeah, snowballing's good.
Snowballing, that's fun. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, that's good enough. Snowballing rhythm. I don't know.
That's what you want, Tim? This is up to you now.
Yeah, snowballing rhythm. I'm locking it in. All right, so our card here, which I'm actually pretty hyped for. I don't know. This hit the teamer zone for me.
We just instantly were like, why don't we make a Simic card for Tim? And Tim's just like so on board. That's the trick to these live designs.
It's like you narrowed the window, but then when you hit the window, it was like immediately obvious you had it right.
Mm-hmm.
So snowballing rhythm. This is 2 blue-green, 4 mana for a sorcery chorus. It has starting intensity 1. And you conjure X duplicates target creature you control onto the battlefield where X is the spell's intensity. And then all chorus cards you own intensify by 1 and harmonize for 6 blue-green.
Awesome.
And this feels like it could be an uncommon in an alchemy set. So I think we're still okay there. And if I get 2 in a deck, then I'm just going to be pumping my fist, having a great time. Alrighty, so we've already checked all our boxes. We actually knocked those out pretty quick. But what we need now is a mythic, something that is. We've done an uncommon, we've done a rare. We need something that like someone might feasibly like crack a bunch of alchemy packs or play a bunch of alchemy to hope to open this card, or they want to craft it, maybe a commander or just like a really exciting card. That maybe also like, once we get to mythic level alchemy cards, these are maybe also addressing like things that a specific color really wants in Brawl, in alchemy standards, something like that. So this is the room to really juice something.
All right, and we've got blue-green and red-black. So my vote is we try and do a white card.
I was thinking the same thing. Yeah, something white.
Yeah, so we did Teamer and Mardu.
So Abzan or
Jeskai.
Yeah.
I think something that actually works with tokens, since we didn't end up doing that for the first cards. Well,
yeah,
something that works as a enticing payoff for tokens.
Mm-hmm.
I think, or perhaps something that really works well with lots of small tokens.
Yeah, and we've already done some keywords, so we're kind of free from having to do like a flurry or an endure or whatever. Though we can use it if we want to. What we're really trying to do here is here's a mythic, here's an inspiring card that's Tarkir flavored that really makes these token decks extra cool.
Yeah.
It looks like there's not a white weenie deck currently.
Not that
in standard. So this is kind of creating a new archetype. So you're not happy with standard, but in alchemy we have this support for your white weenie token strategy, maybe.
I guess we've recently had a bunch of like rabbit tokeny stuff.
Oh, there you go. There is this cool deck that's the Heir Apparent deck that like uses Heir Apparent to make a bunch of rabbit tokens and then overrun you.
Yeah, I hate that. I hate that deck.
Wow. Well, I hate your clones. I hate whenever people make a bunch of clones in Commander, Tim. So how do you feel
tokens.
now?
We're trying to do tokens. Stay on task. I'm just kidding. Just kidding.
So something, that very quick go wide and then burst kind of finish could be something, as the token mono white player in every Magic server I walk into. I always think of that 2 mana enchantment that's like all white creatures get +1/+1. 2-mana anthems are always something I enjoy, but they're a little boring, so we need to make sure we have something on top of it that's like, not only do I love playing this card because it bumps all my tokens up, but like I love playing it on curve because it's juiced and like really gives me some tempo.
What about a cheap or cheap-ish white creature that makes it so that all your tokens enters as copies of that creature?
I'm a first strike 2/2, and all my tokens enter as first strike 2/2s.
Something like that.
What if this seeks a card and then like exiles that card from your library? So like it's an enchantment that seeks a creature, and then whenever you make a token, it is a copy of that creature, right? So when you so like you seek out like some giant stupid dragon, and like your deck is entirely dragons, and then raise the alarms. And so then when you play your raise the alarm, it's like 2 6/6 dragons instead
that
of
could
lame
work,
1/1 soldiers.
Are we okay with this just being a combo card?
I mean, it's a mythic. If it can be defining,
we could put a cap on it too. Seek a creature with mana value 3 or less or something.
There's a recent card kind of in this space that I played with a couple times in Aetherdrift Alchemy. Noctimoon Shines Again, which is a powerhouse card. It was very fun when I've played it and definitely gets a lot done. It's a saga, 3 mana. Step 1, all your creature cards with mana value 2 or less perpetually get +1/+1. And then seek a creature card with mana value 2 or less put on the battlefield. And then step 3, creatures you control with mana value 2 or less gain flying until end of turn. The first 2 steps are the good part, where all your little creatures are permanently bigger, and you're going to seek a creature straight onto the battlefield, and it is bigger. So you're kind of getting like a 3 mana 3/3 in the middle of it, but also like a permanent anthem for all the cards in your deck.
Could we have something that perpetually affects all tokens you ever create?
Yeah. That's what I'm wondering about how perpetually works. Like, perpetually seems to add text to cards. Can you perpetually add something to something that isn't a card? I don't know.
It's alchemy. Yes, you probably can. Like, if someone asks, like, wait, how does this work in the rules? We just say, ask the alchemy team.
I guess I could believe like there's a similar thing in alchemy called boons, which is maybe a better fit than
boons is more like for the next couple of things you play out.
Yeah, that helps the thing that doesn't yet exist, because a token doesn't exist yet. It doesn't have text to modify yet. So a boon could be more like you get a 4-time boon with tokens you blah blah blah. Whenever a token enters, blah blah blah.
Yeah. From my quick reading, I think that's going to work a lot better because perpetually does specify cards and tokens aren't cards.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Now I'm getting it. Yeah, that probably doesn't quite work. That's annoying.
And I think the idea of like you get 4 boons, because like the thing with tokens is you're usually making a lot of them. So if you trigger it whenever a token enters, but you only have 1 boon, you have to like make a big swath of tokens. But if it's like you get 4 boons with whenever a token creature enters, put a +1/+1 counter on it or something.
Could we create an emblem?
Yeah,
we could. Nothing's stopping us. You get an emblem with something.
Something.
So if I'm trying to play a token deck, I want to make sure that I'm helping like playing the raise the alarms or playing the like pay X and Y for X11s or whatever. I guess the main things I'm worried about are having enough time to like cast tokens multiple times and then pump them. And I'm also worried about getting board wiped to oblivion after I spend 4 spells to, just make a bunch of dudes that didn't get to attack.
What about a sort of on-curve creature that with a text like this can't leave the battlefield if you control a token as like board wipe protection?
Oh. Like tokens protect me from dying as long as I control a token. Okay, because that could be like a monastery mentor or something, like a thing that like, whenever I cast a non-creature, I get a token. And also I'm protected as long as I can keep that up.
Yeah, what about Flurry? Could we add Flurry to that, perhaps?
Okay, yeah. There's the new Equipment, do you guys know this? Corey Steel?
Yeah. I was thinking of it, yeah.
Which is like an equipment that like gives a creature +1/+1 trample haste, but also flurry, make a monk, you can attach this thing to the monk. This is like a modern card. This is like a huge print.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But instead of enhancing one creature with like Corey Steel, what we're trying to do is we're trying to like benefit tokens broadly. Something like that.
Well, sticking around on the battlefield seems more like an Abzan thing to do, so perhaps Endure would be more fitting?
Yeah, I guess it could be like, hey, I'm a creature who's selfless and I make my tokens indestructible.
Ah, that's fun. Something like tokens you control can't leave the battlefields.
So I'm gonna put a caveat on here. I'm gonna put on my Tim hat. The big board wipes in the like standard right now, and standard impacts Alchemy to some extent. Is there's a lot of exile, and there's a lot of like there's like some amount of bounce, but like exile is the big thing. Like everything exiles.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't just be Wrath of God proof. You have to be exile proof.
But you can't leave the battlefield is also exile proof.
Is there a card that can't leave the battlefield?
Okay, so the funny thing is that yes, there's this Xenagos for like the I don't know, horde mode or
okay,
like that sort of multiplayer. You fight this Hydra or something. That style of thing.
Okay. We got our like 10-year-old precedent here. I like this.
Like it's a very cool line of text that has been used once on a card that isn't legal in any format.
Yeah. What are the ramifications of can't leave the battlefield?
When we first started here, the card I instantly thought of was Myth Realized. I don't know if you remember this card. Where it's it was this enchantment that basically became a creature, but it would get lore counters on it. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, you get a lore counter, and then you can pay to make this a creature with power equal to the number of lore counters on it. So my thought being, can we do that? A similar idea with tokens, where it's an enchantment off to the side. Maybe your tokens leave the battlefield, but this gets a bunch of counters on it, and then you can make it into a creature that bops your opponent who just wiped the board and has no protection because you have this enchantment kind of hidden away.
Kind of a cousin of Incubate or...
Yeah.
Geist Honored Monk was the old one that was like a white creature that created a couple spirits, and also its size was equal to the number of spirits you controlled. We're doing something like that. Hey, if you board wipe all my tokens, I get 8 lore counters on this, and now whenever I want, whenever it's safe, I'm going to turn that on and have an 8/8.
Yeah.
Also, just added the Xenagos with the can't leave.
Xenagos Ascended. Xenagos Ascended can't leave the battlefield as long as a Reveler is on the battlefield. When Xenagos Ascended leaves the battlefield, each player wins the game. Are we going to get like one of those arena developer articles about like how hard it was to code can't leave the battlefield? I guess this is alchemy-ish. We wouldn't probably put this in normal paper magic.
Yeah.
So maybe that's part of the reason to do it here, which is what we're looking for.
What's the name of that spirit that you can sacrifice it to protect all your creatures?
Selfless spirit?
Yeah, selfless spirits. So something akin to that, but you don't even have to sacrifice it. It just, as long as it's there, your tokens survive.
If they go into combat, they can just block forever because it's essentially indestructible.
Oh,
they can block. They can attack for free. You know, it makes a very not interesting board state if tokens can't leave the battlefield.
Yeah, the block part is a little rough. Yeah.
Yeah.
Super indestructible on blocks. Yeah. I was like kind of getting there until we thought about that part.
Yeah. No, that makes sense.
Is it so? I wonder if there's a way to do like a exponentially growing endures kind of thing where no, because endures. Well, you could create like a spirit, and that like each end step you create a spirit, and that spirit has endure 1, or spirits you control have endure 1. So no, but that just goes on forever.
Yeah.
Yeah, Endure, they either get like a couple +1/+1 counters or create another spirit. I guess if we talk about the boon thing, if you have like a 3-time boon where creatures blah blah blah, like you won't accidentally create an infinite. You know what I mean? Like if it's a limited number of extra endures.
What about like the classic thing is spell that kind of gives all of your stuff indestructible, but it's that exile thing is really annoying. They just exile all of our tokens right now. And that's a pretty big problem because that's extremely relevant. As I've my experience in standard of late is.
What if you have indestructible while tapped? Because then that also, like if I flunge with all my creatures and then the opponent tries to play a board wipe afterward, I'm safe. Though you're saying indestructible maybe isn't valuable enough.
What about can't leave the battlefield while tapped? Finally.
Tapped tokens you control can't leave the battlefield.
Yeah. Well,
that's what you asked for, right?
Yeah. But I'm thinking like, what about just because if it's on a creature and you deal damage to everything, then that creature disappears and then the tokens
lose that ability. Yeah.
Well, what about tokens you control enter with this creature can't leave the battlefield as long as it's tapped?
I kind of like the endure stuff, weaving that in.
Yeah.
Like
totem armor work again. Is that a horrifying question to ask? Because I'm thinking if you do with endures and then care about if enchanted room would be destroyed instead of remove all counters. I'm wondering if you can remove a counter and protect your tokens or protect something in some way.
I guess if it's something you commit to, like I spend a thing to then make it indestructible or can't leave the battlefield, then that's less good as a blocker because it gets used up. I'm trying to make your dream come true here, Crafted, but trying to find the right mix of solves a problem and also doesn't create a problem.
If a creature token would leave the battlefield, if a creature would leave the battlefield, instead remove a counter from it. If you can't exile that creature or something.
That could work, yeah.
Like all the Phantom guys, yeah. That's pretty Abzan-y, like having them lose counters, yeah. When this enters the battlefield, put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. Then from here on out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, the thing is that with some of these solutions, you also run into problems with state-based actions and damage, which makes it like a bit difficult to design for.
Yeah, you kind of need like regenerate things like if this would be dealt damage, instead prevent that damage and remove a counter from this.
Well,
I guess this is why we haven't really seen the alchemy combat keywords. We've seen mostly like, I don't know, more structural things like seek or perpetually or whatever.
What about like eternal as a keyword for can't leave the battlefield? Or impervious?
Unyielding. What are all the Abzan titles? I'm kind of liking the I enter, we make some tokens, or we put counters on things, and then we make things that are either tokens or have counters difficult to remove. Summit.
Yeah.
So the exact shape of that is maybe what we're talking through here. But granting abilities to tokens is difficult compared to perpetually stuff. I'm kind of learning a lot about alchemy here. Just looking at the precedent, imagining how it works programmatically. I didn't know all this stuff before.
I'm wondering if it could just be a straight remove a counter from a thing to get an ability. It could be you remove a counter and you phase out creatures you control. That's the best way to protect tokens from exile.
That's true. That is kind of like bodyguard shieldy. I start with a counter.
I think it needs a little bit more juice just to be that mythic level.
Yeah.
But it is pretty strong as just like, I play this and you have to have an answer if I have lethal on board. Like, I don't know what I don't know what the counterplay is.
I guess remove a counter from this. Creatures you control, each other creature you control phases out, or any number of other creatures you control phases out, something like that. That is a naturally useful thing that I think is more useful in decks with big important creatures than with little guys.
Yeah.
But is good in token decks for sure. It's kind of it's selfless spirit,
right.
But instead of being a flyer, it's phasing.
And like early game, it can give you a token instead of putting the counter on the thing if you really want to. I don't know how exciting that is.
It is funny that it's one of the, it would be an endure card that you never want to make tokens with. You always want to put the counter on it.
Yeah. Which just, I mean, it feels like it's just a little bit too straight of a line of like, here's a powerful thing, and here's how you play it every time. It could have another ability on it that's like spirit tokens you control get +1/+1.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, creature tokens you control or spirit tokens or whatever. Yeah, get a bonus. And that would give you a reason to ever make a token. And then it could just sacrifice instead of removing a counter from itself, right? Unless you're hoping like, I'm going to do this every turn by putting a counter on it every turn.
No, I'm not hoping for that.
Okay. I don't know if you're trying to just like spore frog people out.
Nope. Maybe make it a 2/1.
Oh, this isn't alchemy anymore. Damn it.
Yeah, that's the...
Each other creature you control phases out and perpetually gains.
That is kind of cool. I guess unless we decided that perpetually doesn't work with tokens.
So this is an important addendum.
Yeah.
Here's the rules. So this is from the Magic Wiki. Rules. Perpetually is not included as part of the comprehensive rules. It operates according to the program rules of Magic the Gathering Arena. So I say we can do whatever we want. I'm on crafted side now. And perpetually gains.
I guess once it's on the battlefield, you can perpetually say something about a card. But the thing you can't do is future perpetually give tokens that don't exist yet something.
Yeah.
That I feel like is just hard to reconcile without perpetually. But like, for example, there's this card, Turbocharged Escape. Destroy all non-vehicle creatures, then choose a vehicle you control. It perpetually becomes an artifact creature. That could be a token, and that's fine.
Oh, what about conjuring duplicates of tokens into your hand as non-token creatures that cost 0 mana?
You could do it in Hearthstone.
Oh,
I do like the duplicate thing. You could give this card Double Team. Then you'd be cooking.
Wait. That's pretty sick, actually, isn't it?
It is sick.
Because this is a token, right? I think that's pretty sick.
Yeah, all your tokens have Double Team.
Double Team is the ability where when this attacks, you conjure a copy into your hand, and then both versions perpetually lose Double Team. So
yeah,
the effect of it is that like once you attack with it, you get an extra one, and then you can't get more extra ones, even with trickery.
Yeah.
Double teamed cards are not themselves tokens. They're God's honest cards because they're conjured. They're not tokens. So they wouldn't buff each other. So we might want to tweak this card to care about spirits or something instead of tokens. But if we're talking about endure or whatever, that might be okay.
We do have a lot of lines, but can we put do you want to put double team and endure on the same card?
Do I want?
That's a lot of lines.
I was really close to being done.
It's not a lot of text. Yeah. It's just a lot of repeated
it's a mythic.
lines.
You know what? We can have 4 different things on a mythic.
Yeah.
We probably don't need this extra perpetually then if we're doing that.
Okay.
Oh. All right.
I'm pretty content.
The sack ability is very useful on its own. The Spirits You Control buff is not that explosive, but it would have a home in a lot of decks. The Endure one allows this to make a spirit so that it has something to pump. And then the double team is what like kind of puts this over the top. Is like, here's a special card you only get to cast in your Brawl deck, in your Alchemy standard deck, in your draft deck. And like, you know, is rewarding to play in that case. Like, it's an explosive small card. Not standalone powerful fully, but standalone good, because at double team, they pump each other Yamazaki style. Yeah. I would be happy to play with this card.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Abzan Master, what's our Abzan flavor that we can slap on this thing?
Is that me? Are you talking to me? The name I am pitching. I guess I'm pitching it somewhere else.
Sure.
The name I'm pitching is Protective Ancestor. If we go Ancestor, that seems pretty easy.
Twin Shield Ancestor.
Ooh, perfect. We got there.
So we have Twin Shield Ancestor, costing 1 and white. It's a spirit creature with double team, endure 1, and other spirits you control get +1/+1, as well as sacrifice this creature. Each other creature you control phases out, and it's a 2/2.
Very cool. Yeah, this would be fun. You play this in Arena Cube. You play this in some Brawl deck. It's like pretty good on its own. Double team is just naturally a good mechanic. So yeah, I don't know. We're going big. We're going wide. What else could we want? All right, those are our 3 cards. We got our dragon reviving goblin. We got our song about making copies of ourselves, and we got our like just absolute beater of a white creature. What's everyone's favorite? Looking back, we locked in some cards. You could design forever, but you know, with the cards that we ended up with, maybe crafted. What's your favorite of the 3? What card would you want to cast?
I'm thinking the snowballing rhythm just seems seems fun to snowball with.
I gotta pick out the Twin Shield Ancestor for sure. That's the type of card that's the type of card that I'm probably just gonna, if I'm like building an Alchemy deck and I'm looking through like rares and mythics of like what can I just craft 4 of real quick.
Yeah.
That's probably what I'm crafting 4 of.
Yeah.
Get something kind of started.
Yeah. It's got a lot of abilities on it. I think the Simic one is also my favorite. This Twin Shield Ancestor is quite powerful, but I don't know. Gives me an excuse to play choruses. I want to know the other 2 choruses. Maybe people have ideas. Mm-hmm. What's the red-green chorus? What's the blue-red chorus that we're going? That is a teamery that we could put in our Alchemy set here. That's about it for our live design for this episode for this week. But as always, we like to highlight some stuff you as a listener can do to get involved. Our main one that we have every month is our monthly design challenge. The one for April's about to wrap up, but if you're listening to this pod fresh, you have a couple days left. And that's Fool's April. This is kind of a fun challenge, a little bit different from our usual ones. Submit either a real card with name and any relevant creature types changed, or a custom card. Either way, include spoiler text with the card's real name or revealing that it is a custom card. You guys been enjoying this challenge? Is this a fun one?
I'm getting a kick out of reading the cards, for sure. And it's like a fun little game you can play. You can play at home before.
Yeah, it's true.
Test your magic card knowledge.
Yeah. Juliet and I have been in lockdown not looking at the thread ahead of time. There's even like 150 message thread of people plotting our destruction. So I don't know what we're in for yet.
I have an idea for a card there that should catch you off guard.
All right. I like it. There are some bonus points on there too. Fool's Gold can be cast for a single color of mana, and Fool's Rules, the card has 3 lines of rules text. To either aid your in narrowing down your Scryfall search or something to aspire to and creating a card to try to fool us. As usual, we've got all sorts of other stuff happening in the Discord. Both Crafted here and MDub and Peter both have just active channels working on sets right now. I know Crafted, we haven't actually talked about this set on the pod yet. Jardica, am I saying that right?
I was thinking more Jardeka, but yeah,
Jardeka.
Sure.
Okay. This is like a sci-fi, recently apocalypsed world, but there's still plenty of like technology roaming around and artifacty. Is that fair to say?
It's very fair to say artifacty, yes. You might even say very artifacty of a set.
Is it clank? What's the mechanic in there?
It's just keyworded artifact fall the same way Alliance keyworded, well, creature fall landfall.
I think that's one of the better. I like that name. The Sound of the Artifact Landing is the name of the ability there. And you kind of work on that on and off. What's it?
Sorry. Yeah. Sort of working on that on and off when I feel motivated to work on custom magic specifically.
Yeah. Get some ideas out. Are you looking for feedback on that, or are you mostly just posting updates?
I'm always happy with feedback. Come on.
Okay.
Everyone is happy with feedback, I believe.
So maybe if you're just hearing about this set, listeners hear about this set for the first time, jump in there, find a couple of your favorites, tell Crafted about it, that kind of thing. Does that sound good?
Yeah.
Alrighty. And then there's another, while I was like traveling, the name of the Wrenchmar channel changed. And I said, what are they up to? You guys are working on a new set as well, you and Red Bay.
Yeah. We've dropped a couple commons, and you can kind of see where our progress is at. Right now, we just did our archetype uncommons, and we want to do some commons playtesting to see where we're at. We have all our mechanics sorted, but which of them are actually going to stick, which of them need a tweak, and how do they play together? So very early designs, but it's kind of this punk, cyber, techno, rebellion plane.
Kamigawa, but much more cool and radical. People on
skateboards. Very heavily 90s inspired. People just like trying to break some rules.
Okay.
Be little goofballs.
Okay. I like it. And that channel's been lighting up too. So, you're gonna try to get some playtests in soon. Maybe we'll see some pings.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then You Make the Pack. I'm a little bit behind on You Make the Pack. We're a couple slots away from finishing up this pack. Is that right?
Yep. Voting is probably still going on at the time of this release, but will be closing soon, so you can get your voting for slot 13, and then I think it'll be 1 or 2 more cards to sneak in there. So keep your eyes out.
All right. Yeah. I'm still I've been voting in each one, but I haven't been following the development because I want to attempt your challenge of putting the cards in order. So this is a You Make the Pack. You do 1 card at a time. We've done a bunch of these You Make the Packs. You do 1 card at a time. Then you guys have kind of taken that to also be 1 card in a story at a time. So these have a progression to them, going from like a flashback into the present, it seems like. And that'll be wrapping up soon. And that'll be it for our podcast as well. Hop on the Discord. That's where all the action is. Another plug for beaconofcreation.com. We've been putting up show notes there that have gotten to be pretty robust. So if you need to catch up on episodes, you want to look at some of the cards while we're talking about them, we've been trying to do a good job of putting all that stuff on the website. Anything else you guys have something to tell? Anything you want to tell people about?
Well, I'm always here to give another movie shout out. This weekend, I was kind of trying to just look for a movie. I helped my brother move, so I was pretty exhausted.
Oh, okay.
And so I was trying to look for a movie that our girlfriend and I could just sit and enjoy, and I could kind of be zonked out or fall asleep while it was going on. So something maybe I'd already seen before. And I flipped on The Prestige, which is a Christopher Nolan magician movie. I've seen it like 4 or 5 times. And this time still just totally locked in the entire time. Like, thought I was going to fall asleep in the first 5 minutes and then just watch the entire thing, edge of my seat still. Even though I know everything that's going to happen already. So it's a great movie to watch once, but an amazing movie to watch twice.
It's like magicians in the 1900s or something?
Yeah.
The
Victorian era. Yeah.
Victorian.
And it's got some like Thomas Edison, Nikola Tesla beef going on. So if you're just
stuff,
if you're just really into the battle between AC and DC current,
there you go.
This is the movie for you.
All right, Crafted, any recommendations from you? Anything you've been into? Anything you want to plug?
I'm just going to tell everyone to remember to hydrate.
Oh, okay.
Drink water. Come on.
I drank 2 big cups of water according to this pod, so I'm pretty hydrated. I like that. Hydration check. Love this.
And where do I find hydration? Do they have a Twitter handle or are they on Blue Sky?
I'm gonna Google water.
Just locate your nearest river and stick your head in, and you should be able to find it. Hopefully.
Perfect.
Alrighty. And if you need to find me at Tim at Firely, you can find me on the Discord, Blue Sky, stuff like that. And most of all, thanks for listening.